This is the Corsair HS70 Pro wireless gaming headset. On paper, it looks like a great gaming headset, especially at the price, but does it also double up as a conference calling headset? In this review, we're going to find out whether it's any good or not. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the design. Now, they feel pretty weighty compared to my Bose headphones, but actually gaming headphones always tend to be a little bit heavier. The drivers on these are bigger, the cups are bigger, and they have this really nice headband. It comes in both cream and in carbon black. It's got a nice print of the Corsair logo on the top. At this price point, they're going to be made of plastic. There's not much metal going on here except for these mesh grills. It's got a detachable microphone, which is always a plus, because when you're gaming or if you're just listening to music, you don't always want to have to be faffing about with this hitting you in the face, right? So it's always good to have this removed when you're not using it. And yeah, I think they feel pretty great. So the adjustability is pretty strong on these. You've got actually some markers on the headset, which is actually a nice touch, because I don't even have these on my Bose headphones, and they cost a lot more. So that's a nice plus to have. So you can see they've got numbers 2, 4, 6 and 8, and they've got interval markers, which is a really, really great feature. So if we look at the side of the headphones, so if we focus on the left side of the headphones, so you can probably see it's on your right, but what you've got is the scroll wheel for controlling the volume manually, which is a great feature to have, so you can keep it on full blast on your computer or on your PlayStation, and then just adjust it to your liking. You've also got a mute button. You've got an LED indicator, which I'll come on to a bit later, and you've got a micro USB port. So no USB-C charging here, but micro USB, easy to buy cables for, right? The other thing is you've got the power button on the right hand side, so you don't have too many controls, and some people might not like that, but I actually think it's better because there's less confusion. You know what you're pressing, and it makes it easier to reach for the right button. So I think that's a good thing, definitely. Overall, I think the build quality is pretty strong. They stretch and flex enough. You've got the tilt in the cups, which means for those with awkward size heads, it's not really a problem. And they swivel a little bit, not too much, but again, they don't need to swivel that much. The idea is that these aren't supposed to be for portability as such. You're not going to be taking these on a plane or anything like that, or packing them in your suitcase. So the fact that they don't fold or collapse is not really a bad thing at all. So the next thing to talk about is the comfort. How do they feel? Well, when you're wearing them, they feel pretty comfortable. There's not much clamping force on the head, which is a good thing. And like I said, comparing them to my Bose headphones, these are very, very comfortable. You can wear these for hours and hours. I've used them for conference calls. I've used them for gaming. Wearing these for 3, 4 or 5 hours is not really going to bother anyone. You don't really get much sweat coming from the ear cups. They feel actually well ventilated. I don't feel like I'm suffocating, and you don't get that awkward feeling from active noise cancellation. So these passive ear cups do a really good job, surprisingly well actually, especially as I'm comparing them to noise cancelling headphones. And the only thing is you've got this microphone in the way. Now this is a gaming headset, so you're expected to have the microphone at least close to your face, and it gives you the option to push it to one side. Now I do have one problem with this, which is whilst you have a pop filter, which is great for the plosives and so on, there is one negative to this, and I just want to point this out before you go ahead and buy these, which is if you're not careful, this pop filter is just gonna come off, because it's so loosely put on and it doesn't feel strong enough, and half the time I'm looking for it, and when I've moved it between downstairs and upstairs, you know, I end up losing the damn thing and I have to go and look for it. That's something definitely I would just be mindful of. It's a small niggle, but again, it's worth mentioning. So the next thing to talk about is the headphone sound quality. Now, as I mentioned already, I've used these for conference calls mostly, actually. The reason I bought these was to use them for work, and they do a really great job. Everybody can hear me very clearly. There's no distortion, and the sound I can hear from other people is super, super clear. So if you're going to use these in an office environment or a home office environment, I think these are going to do the job really nicely. And as I mentioned already, by having the passive noise cancelling, what it means is that your pets, your children, your spouse, whoever, if you hear them in the background, the noise is going to be fairly minimal. So if you're working in the dining room or somewhere else in the house, These are going to do a great job of reducing some of that sound, and it allows enough sound in so that if somebody's calling you or you need to pick up a phone or answer the door, there's going to be no problem in you hearing that. Provided you're not gaming at the time and it's on full blast, you should be all right. Now, from a gaming point of view, I've tested these with Red Dead Redemption 2, which granted isn't the loudest of games. It's more of a narrative style game, but I've also tried it with Grand Theft Auto. I've tried it with Hitman. You know, they sound fantastic. If you have them at full volume, they're going to sound brilliant. And as I mentioned already, for the price, the sound quality is excellent. These fit really nicely over the head, and it just seals the deal for me in terms of the sound. The highs are good, the mids are fantastic, the bass is pretty good as well. I wouldn't mess about too much with the equalizer. I don't think it's necessary really. So the next thing to talk about is the microphone sound quality. Now, what you're hearing is the microphone quality. It sounds probably pretty good, I hope, but how does it compare to a traditional Plantronics over-the-air headset that you might be using already for conference calls? Now, I think the sound on this is very good for a wireless gaming headset, but could it replace a conference calling headset? Well, I think it depends. I think it depends on whether the sound that you're hearing or your users are hearing is going to be better than that which is built into your laptops, right? So provided that these sound better than the microphones built into your laptop, I think these are going to do a great job. You've got the adjustability here, you can bring it closer, and your call quality is going to be just right. Everyone's going to be able to hear you just fine. So the same thing applies to gaming chats, and as long as everyone can hear you and there's no hissing, I think you're going to get away with these just fine. Now, if I remove the pop filter, I wonder how the pops sound now. There's probably a lot of P's, a lot of plosives. Maybe I'm emphasizing that a little bit more, but it's just worth pointing out that having this pop filter on probably makes a little bit of difference, and it's worth keeping it on. And if you've lost it, make sure you go and find it. So how do these connect? Connect the USB into your computer or your PlayStation, and you're good to go. They connect straight away. There's no fuss, there's no worry. They connect straight away. And what you'll find is that as they're searching to be connected, there's a little green LED indicator that flashes. So the Corsair application on the desktop is pretty comprehensive. So what you can do is you can change the levels of the audio quality. You can also make these go between 7.1 and stereo, which is a great nifty feature to have. What you also have is the battery percentage. But to be fair, I don't really look at that on my work laptop. I can't even install the software. So some of those features are a little bit limited to me, but when I'm gaming, I do have full access. I mean, I like my sound, but I'm certainly no audiophile. So for me, keeping them on their default settings does more than a good enough job. But if you're into that kind of thing, you've got different profiles, you can flick between them, and you can choose exactly how you want your sound, increase the bass, whatever, trebles, lows, etc. So in conclusion, I think these work really well as a gaming headset. They work really well as a conference call headset. So thanks for watching. Click subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.